Hello. I've had a rough day. It's been a really rough day. I look rough, I feel rough, but I'm looking forward to writing. Coming here and writing is the only thing that's made me. Even my skin looks terrible. But, hey. Writing is the best thing you can do when you're feeling a bit rough. I've had 8.5 hours of teaching today. So 8.5 hours of just teaching, solid teaching, nothing else. But I like my students like me, so I can't really complain. Right, I'm going to put some music on. So this is another writing session. So if you happen to play this video back, just write along with me. My skin is absolutely like just rough today, but I just haven't rested much or done much, and I think that's just taken its toll. But it's always a pleasure to be able to write. I think that's one thing I can do that can always leave me relaxed, you know? And when I look at the work I've achieved over the last month, it's very, very exciting indeed. Because you don't know how much work you're actually getting done until you actually start to look at all the sheets of paper that you are amassing. Yeah. I've just moisturized my hands so I can't open my ink bottle. Oh dear. Right, this was a bad idea, I think. Yeah, there we go. So partially open now. So like I said, Monday is 8.5 hours of teaching. And I start at 7:30, I finish at 6:30. And obviously I have breaks in between some classes, but a lot of classes are back to back. And some of the classes I have about 3.5 hour classes as well. So, but I'm grateful for it because I like my students. They're fun. And anyway, they're going to all start to go off for the summer fairly soon. So I won't see them again until September. But I do like teaching them. And I do like seeing the progress that they're making. So that does make me very, very happy indeed. Right. So I got quite a bit done over the last few days. I'm very happy with that. So I just need to write a plan now for what I want to achieve this evening. Yeah, this is starting to look a bit manky, but I just need to buy some more of these. And also, I want to say thank you to the people who've subscribed to my channel in recent weeks. Yeah, I'm really grateful. Thank you for that. I just didn't think many people would want to watch a boring writing channel, you know, but here you all are. I mean, obviously, the numbers I get during my lives aren't huge, but I just like the idea that people are very into writing, because I absolutely adore writing. Oh, thank you, Mads. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to quickly fill in my plan for this evening. What I want to achieve. I think with any writing session, it's good to start with what, you know, don't just start writing blindly. What's the aim? What do you want to achieve? What's the ultimate goal? What's the plan? Hi, Sonino. Thank you. So always start off with writing a loose plan of what you want to achieve, because if you just start writing blindly, you could just end up just writing blindly and just writing, something that doesn't quite fit into your story or into your plot. Hi Fabian. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Fabian. This is one of my favorite like journals. I use it at the moment for just writing ideas down and plotting, but I bought it ages ago and it's actually refillable. But I need to find out where I can get refillable sheets. So that presents another issue. But I do love it. And yeah. I think I bought it on Amazon or something like that. One of those really delivery sites. But I like the idea that it's refillable, so I can just always fill it with more pages. Although I don't know what the exact size, like the paper dimensions are, I have to find out. And then they all have these, I don't know if you can see, these spacings, and I'm not sure if these are easily available according to like hole punch sizes, so this should be interesting. Well, yeah, I love it. Yeah. I found this little sheet. I think I started writing on it, like an idea I had, and I just started writing. And I never actually finished. Yeah, it was interesting. That's interesting how I just have like little slips of paper all around my flat. But luckily I haven't, I'm trying to organise my writing space a lot better, so I have everything in one spot and I don't have paperwork scattered everywhere. Oh god, I keep dropping ink. if anyone has any questions about anything, whether it's, or you want to share your ideas or whatever, I mean, you can ask questions as well. I mean, there's only like a couple of us on the live anyway, so don't feel like anyone's gonna laugh or whatever, because there's so few of us. So if you want to ask or you're writing along, do ask. I'm just writing, I'm plotting at the moment, and I'm hoping I can start writing in like full flow in a few minutes. I just want to like write some ideas down. Oh, I get such a strong feeling of serenity from you. Ah, thank you. Writing gives me serenity. Well, thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that. I didn't know it was such a big thing. When I started doing these lives, I was just experimenting because someone mentioned doing lives to me, and I'm glad that it seems to be of benefit to quite a few people. I didn't know that so many people like to join live writing sessions. I had no idea, but I'm glad it's of benefit, definitely. Ah, thank you, David. Thank you very much for that. Oh, good. I'm glad I inspired you to take your notes for studying. Inspiration is good. Inspiration is very good. That's not good. Oh, it's alright actually. I'm on the right track. I think. Yeah. Oh. I think I'm starting to wear this nib out a bit. Oh dear. Yeah, I think that's the plan. And I'm happy with that. Oh, I think the music's gone off. Right. Oh, thank you. Have you ever written so much you don't know what to do with yourself? It's quite scary how you can actually write so much down and have just be overwhelmed by it all. I just feel like I've just spent... So I've started typing some stuff up as well, which is good. Is this writer's block or fatigue? Oh, when you're overwhelmed? Oh, I'm just overwhelmed. Writer's block is when you can't get any ideas down. Nothing is coming. And I think writer's block could be caused by overwhelm. It could be caused by tiredness. So many things can cause writer's block. But I think at the moment I'm just overwhelmed because I've had a very long day. I've been working. I work part-time in a school, but even though I work part-time, I taught so many hours today because there are not many teachers available. And I enjoy it, but it was still pretty hard. So I'm just trying to wind down now and write. Raffles, do you want to sit down? I don't know what you're doing right now. Thank you. Yeah, I've heard about Wattpad. I don't know what Wattpad is about. What is Wattpad? Because I've heard about it, but I don't know what it's supposed to be for. Is it fan fiction? Wattpad? I think it's supposed to be fan fiction, isn't it? Oh, lovely. Okay, that's so interesting. Okay, this is going horribly wrong. Let's swap over. Oh, lovely. I'm just thinking for a few minutes. I get a very blank look on my face when I think, unfortunately. This is so typical. Just find pencils, pencils, pencils. A little candlestick. Oh my goodness. I'm just so... And there's lots of inks, like ink cartridges. I think these are blue though, and I don't really like blue as a colour. Yeah, I've got to figure this out as well, actually. Oh dear. Oh dear. There's ink everywhere. Okay, let's try this. Yeah, this always takes a while to reload. Maybe not the best. I think this is definitely blue. I don't really like the plastic ink cartridges, to be honest, because I think they dry so quickly. And I just don't think they're very good. But there you go. Okay, I've had a good break. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't maintain your nibs. They start to go a bit funny. I'm used to using ink. I'm just used to it. It's a habit. I don't do it for any particular reason. I'm just used to it. I grew up with ink, and we had pens in the house when I was growing up. We always had ink as well for some reason, because no one else used ink. So I used to find ink, like bottles of ink, in my grandfather's study. I think people had given it to him as gifts. So I just used to find it, and I just used to ink. So I just got used to playing around with ink, and that's why I have ink. Yeah. And actually, I do like I don't know if you know these pens. I do like using very thin pens like this. But now like this is out of ink. And these are actually quite expensive here, and it's out of ink. So what do I do? And I just find that, yes, ink is also more sustainable, correct, exactly. Spot on, because what do I do with this now? Do I recycle it? What do I do? And I have all these plastic and metal pens, and I don't like throwing these in the bin because they're all just plastic. So I just prefer to use ink, you know. I mean, I can't use ink every day, and I also prefer refillable cartridges where you can just fill it up with ink and then recycle the bottle. So yeah, sustainability is very important as well, because I just can't keep throwing these away, and I go through so many of them. You know. I try to write at least 1,000, and 1,000 isn't much, to be honest, because I know some authors who write about 5,000. Some go as far as 10,000 words a day, which to me is just absolutely insane. But I like to aim for about. I always use a certain type of paper, like these A4. Nothing special, just these A4 sheets, and I aim for at least 3 pages. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's harder, but and each page takes about 330 words. So if you aim for 3 sides, you're getting about 990 words. So that's what I tend to aim for. So roughly about 1,000 in a day. But sometimes I don't make it, and if I don't make it, I'm not hard on myself, because it takes a lot to write that amount of words in a day. And I've listened to some author interviews, and they aim for about 500 in a day, which is to some is exceptionally low, but to me is a good figure, because it means that you're really paying attention, I think, to the quality of your writing, you know. Oh, and you like the outline method, or you just write? It depends. It all depends on how I'm feeling. Usually, I know what I'm going to write, so I've outlined in one way or the other, so I know exactly what I'm going for. And sometimes I just write, but it's quite, I would say, dangerous to just write. I think it's best to have some sort of idea of where you want to go in a writing session, especially if you're working to a deadline. If you're not working to a deadline, then it's okay to just write. But if you are, then I would say try and outline even a little bit because it does help. I'm not sure if this is the right. Excuse me, I'm just gonna get some tea quickly because I'm gonna put the kettle on first. Actually, I need a hot drink. I'll be right back. Okay, I just have to put the kettle on. Oh, I think it's getting a bit dark. Gosh, I like it dark. Okay. Yeah, I think it's getting a bit too dark actually. Oh, see, that just really hurts my eyes. I wonder if the fairy lights will be better. Let's try that instead. I don't know if this is any better. I just find my table lamp just a bit too harsh for my eyes, you know? It's just a bit, It's like having a flashlight shone in your face. I like my fairy lights. I think I do need more fairy lights in my flat, actually. Kettle's boiling, I'll be right back. I think I might have to put the lights on, and they're so heavy. I might actually try something. Okay, let's see if this works. It could be a bloody bad idea, or it could be a fantastic idea. Oh. Ooh. I think that's much better, because, yeah, this is, oh yeah, this is better for me. I think the light is just so intense, and it really hurts my eyes. I'm just trying to gather my thoughts. Hiya. My ink has suddenly become heavier. I don't know what I've changed. Oh, I've changed the nib, right. Yeah, I've gone from that to that, and my ink, I'm using a lot more ink, which is, I just wish there was an in-between. I'm not sure if you can see the difference. So that's that one. You might not be able to tell. So that's quite heavy on ink, and that's quite light on ink. I don't know if you can tell the difference. Yeah, there's that one. Yeah, there's that one. Can you see that's a lot lighter? I don't know if you can see it or not because it's so dark in here. I might start doing the shots overhead again. I don't know if people prefer to have the shots overhead like I did the first few times, or to have it from the side, or from this side, I don't know. I might do a poll or something. Okay, thank you for the feedback. I wasn't sure, but thank you for that. I think I will just add a few more lights that are quite dim, or more fairy lights, I think. Because this light, although it's brilliant some of the time, from this angle, it's just very intrusive, I think. But thank you for the feedback. I hope the writing's going well. Oh, thank you. Ah, thank you so much. And you love to write as well. That's lovely. You should try joining the writing sessions. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but is it cursive writing? Yes, it is. Is it cursive? Yes, it is cursive. I think it's considered cursive. I do tend to mostly write in cursive, so I don't know if you can see that. It's a very bad sheet of paper. That's how I tend to write. So yeah, it is considered cursive, but I wouldn't say it's extravagant cursive. You do get some cursive that's quite, extravagant to look at. Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the compliments about my writing. Oh yeah, you can join the lives whenever you want, and you can also replay the lives as well if you want to write along, but you're not currently able to write along. You can just play it all later and just write, or try to write for the entire duration of the video. Oh, you're from the Philippines. Lovely. Okay. Oh wow, everyone's in the Philippines today. I've never been to the Philippines before. Raffles, can we not start trying to, do all that, please? How do you do research and gain inspiration for your stories? I've just actually put a video. Oh, is it out yet? No, I've just keep an eye out on my long form videos the videos on my channel, because I have quite a few about inspiration. I think I have one or two coming out in the next week, but on Thursday it's coming out. But I get inspiration from anywhere and everywhere. I get inspiration all the time, and all sorts of things inspire me. It could be smells, the feel of something, the sound of something, someone's shoes, someone's perfume, anything can strike inspiration. So inspiration isn't always a light bulb moment where you suddenly have this amazing idea. It just comes in little drips, So there isn't this great big moment like you get in the movies where you get this flash of inspiration and it's amazing. It's in little bits, and it comes when you least expect it as well. And you have to be very relaxed to receive inspiration. You can't be tense or worried. So I'm aiming for just one more. Oh, my ink is really wet. Oh god. So this is one issue with the ink bottles. You do get very wet. I'm not sure if you can see all down there. It's still very wet. Yes, thank you. Pretty imperfect, but very dry, very wet at the moment. I'm just hoping it all dries soon because I want to turn the page over. I don't believe every story should have a happy ending. I think it should have a fairly realistic ending, in my opinion. I think that, I don't believe the guy always gets the girl always gets the guy, or the princess and the prince go happily into the castle. I think characters in books have so many layers and so many flaws. Oh, in real life, yeah, I think, you can meet people in real life, but I don't believe in happy endings. I'm not a romantic person. I'm very pragmatic, very boring, actually. Yeah, the ink is is sabotaging me slightly. Oh, it's raining outside. A storm is kicking off. So some of my books are easily downloadable there, and they're free as well. If you just go to the link in the description, there's The House on the Hill, which is a prequel to the Dwellers series, and then there is A Perilous Rescue, which is the prequel to the Heathens series. So yeah. But it's all, those are both ebooks. It's not a jumbled process at all. There is obviously with any story there has to be a beginning, middle, and end. But I think it helps to plot the story first and write down an outline for what you want to achieve, and that helps. I think the middle is always the hardest bit, because the middle of any story is where most authors have to stop, because it's really hard, and it's really easy to write the end quickly because that's an exciting bit, and to write the beginning. But in terms of the middle, that's where a lot of the plot happens. That's where you have to be quite organized. That's the meatiest bit of the story, and that's where you can either lose your reader or the reader can carry on. So it's a very precarious part of the book, and I think that's why a lot of authors who don't finish manuscripts tend to stop there, because they just don't know how to proceed any further. And that's why sometimes it's best to just plot and outline the entire story, so you make sure you keep readers hooked all the way through. And that's really difficult. Trying to hook a reader and keep them interested in how many books you're writing, whether it's a series or a short story, is difficult. So it's a real challenge. No, I don't publish poetry because I've never written poetry. I wrote one when I was a kid, and that was it. I wrote one poem, but I just generally don't write poetry because I just don't. I just prefer long story, long novels, like, that sort of thing, because you can really get into the story, and I like world building as well. I'm a bigger picture extrovert, so I need to collaborate with details-oriented introverts so that I can keep motivated and directed. I struggle gaining the spoons when I'm by myself. Getting the spoons. I don't understand getting the spoons. Is that a typo? I think you just have to train yourself and get used to the finer details of writing, and I think it's just getting used to it, really. I don't think there is a real. It's just about practice, you know. I think it's something you have to get used to, because I think that is what will keep viewers reading the books. And when I first wrote this series, so this is a series of 3 books, that's one. That's The Dwellers, that is 2. So The Dwellers, Browning House, and The Longest Night. So I wrote those 3 books, and it was really fascinating because when I wrote them the first time, I wrote them as one book, just one solid book. And I think I came up with about 270,000 words. And my editor said, no way. She said, no, you can't do that because it's just not feasible. And she was amazing, actually, because she actually explained to me that it was better to split them into 3 books. Because she said that she found 3 points in the book that were good to end the story. So I'm glad I followed her advice. And, here are the books. But I pay attention to a lot of details because I think with storytelling it's so important. Yes, it was a huge portion. So I'm glad I listened to her. She's amazing. I either write fantasy. I write mostly fantasy. All these books are fantasy here, but I also have dark academia books as well. And the fantasy and the dark academia aren't on my website. We're working on putting them on the website, but they are in the Amazon bookstore, in the KDP bookstore. Yeah. But yeah, you have to just unfortunately get used to writing details because that is what will tell the story, and that is what will keep the readers coming back for more and reading a lot more. Because one thing I've seen with some stories is where some writers start with a story and they have certain details that they mention, and then it seems like they forget the details as they move on to telling the story. No, I do not write sci-fi or romance. I know sci-fi fantasy is a thing, and I know romance fantasy is a thing, or romantasy as they call it. But I don't write any of those because I'm not very good with writing romance. Now, that is not to say I don't have romance in my books. I have a bit of it, but that is not the main point of the story. And science fiction, I just don't understand how to write science fiction because I don't think my brain works in that way. But I know there's some really amazing sci-fi authors out there and amazing romance fantasy authors as well. Ah, okay. No, I'm not. I have some dark fantasy. So, Heathens is leaning towards dark fantasy. The Dwellers is more low fantasy. I don't know if you've heard of low fantasy, where it's fantasy in the real world. Okay. But yeah, I find fantasy a lot easier to write. Fantasy for me is the easiest genre to write. While some people find it difficult, some people prefer sci-fi or romance or contemporary, but I just find fantasy really easy because I find the world building aspect really easy, and I find the inspiration easier to come by. Yeah, so there's low fantasy and high fantasy. Low fantasy, high fantasy is, castles, kingdoms, where it's completely immersed in the fantasy world. There is no real world, our world, in that world. Whilst low fantasy is, so for example, this book, this series, is about teenagers, is about a world beneath London that is moved from Victorian London to modern day London, and it deals with aspects of our world, the real world, and low fantasy is about magical realism in the real world, whilst high fantasy is just complete fantasy. There is no real world going on in there. Yeah, this is the thing. The more people write, the more all these differences come about. Because when obviously I realized that my genre very early on was fantasy, but then because of the way I write my fantasy, it's very a girl is walking home from the supermarket, or a girl is walking home from school one winter's evening, and she comes across a dark warlock on a path. So it's reality and magic, whilst high fantasy is just magic. But I tend to steer more. I tend to lean more towards low fantasy for some reason. I just find that very easy to write, and I think it speaks to me a lot more. Yes, exactly. Well done, Makeru. Lord of the Rings is very high fantasy. I would say Narnia's low fantasy, I would say, because it takes place in their world and then they go into Narnia. So yeah, definitely. But yeah, those are very good examples. Lord of the Rings, I don't think people realize that it's high fantasy. It's it's pretty much the top tier of high fantasy because everything is in a magical world. But yeah, thank you. Those are amazing examples. Thank you for that. And I think the more people write, the more all these different genres change and I would say mutate. Because, I mean, before there was no such thing as romantic fantasy. But now there is romantic fantasy, and a lot of authors are writing romantic fantasy because that's a genre that they really, really enjoy writing in. So I think it's amazing. And then now there's science fiction fantasy, which is brilliant. and there are all these different fantasy genres coming out, which means that a lot more writers are finding their voices and, telling the stories that they want to tell, which I think is really good. And there's a huge thunderstorm starting outside, so I'm very happy. And I think one of my dogs is starting to get a bit nervous. Oh yeah, yes, if I don't know how to start a story, first of all, before I start writing, I have to make sure that I'm very, very relaxed. I have to be very at peace, and that's why sometimes it's better to write when you first wake up in the morning, because your brain is completely empty. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful manner, but your brain, you're very relaxed, you're very switched off, and the world is still very quiet, so you don't have all these outside interruptions. So I think first thing you do when you wake up is try and get some ideas down. And if that's not possible for you, that's fine. But to get yourself to a point where you can get inspiration, you have to really, really switch off. And I think you have to be very relaxed in the first place. So I would say go for a walk, go for a run, just go do something that releases all that pent up energy. Because I think when you're very tense and you're very there's a lot of energy going on, or you just finished work and you're frustrated by work, then you're not likely to have any form of inspiration. So you have to learn to relax, put some music on, and switch off. And I think you always need a playlist. YouTube has so many playlists. You need a playlist that you can just switch on and play for hours that will get you into the mood for writing. That's extremely important, because you need to be able to block out all the outside noise and any external noise. It's really important. Oh, yeah, you are welcome, guys. You're all welcome. Writing is fun. I think if more people wrote and more people were creative, I think things would be, not completely easy, but life would be a whole lot easier for more people, I think. Bye. Have a good night. Or good day. Good night. Philippines. Have a good night. Dark academia. Dark academia is a fairly, I would say dark academia is a fairly new genre, and I don't know how it came about, but it came about via, I know Instagram made it really big, and dark academia is always in an educational setting, right? It's always in an educational setting, and it always centers around elite schools, like elite schools, higher education, preppy uniforms, rich kids. So something like Gossip Girl, but not as ridiculous as Gossip Girl, because I did find the Gossip Girl series quite silly, and very just it was just a silly series. But Dark Academia is usually, if you think about boarding schools in the UK, the uniforms, that sort of aesthetic is Dark Academia. And it's always in a higher education setting, usually a boarding school, university, college, that sort of thing. But it relies very heavily on uniforms or a certain sort of look. Yeah. Tweeds, cashmeres, that sort of thing. And I found it quite easy to write. I have a Dark Academia series out on my Amazon page, and I found that extremely easy to write because I went to those types of schools when I was in the UK, so it was really interesting. It was a really interesting experiment. huge dollop, I think. No, I think you just write what you want to write, as long as you're not plagiarizing anyone's work, and try and make your ideas fairly unique, so you don't have, and not too similar to another author, so you don't have the issue of, oh, did you copy the author? Because sometimes these problems do exist. But just enjoy writing. I would say to people, just enjoy the process of writing. Just enjoy it. It's such a lovely thing to make up stories and to come up with all these ideas in your head. And I have seen those books around. And if you want to write about supernatural academies and just do it. I think we're at a stage now in terms of creativity where, due to social media, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. Because I think because of social media, the market you want will always be out there. So I think write whatever you want to write. If especially like a screenplay, you could do it. But what you have to consider is who's going to read it, who is your ideal market, because is this going to be for people who want to read, who are going to read it like a book? Then it's going to have to be written like a book, because I know that I think screenplays are different layouts to books. I mean, books are written in that format, but screenplays are going to be fairly, I mean, she said, he said, she said, he. That's my idea of screenplays. So I think you have to be very careful, because you just don't want to do all that work for the sake of just doing it, and then, so you have to think through your plan very carefully, and what do you want to do with the work at the end of the day. You write the screenplay, but what do you want to do with it? So you have to sort of think it through, and how you're going to present it to your ideal readers, because if you're advertising to Book Talk or Bookstagram, they're going to want to see physical books in a book format. Okay, so it is possible, but how do you market it? Therein lies the issue. Okay, so there you go. Those are two examples of people who've seen screenplays published as books. So that's definitely a good idea. But just make sure that you're prepared for all outcomes. I'm really dripping ink everywhere. think I'm just going to do this. Very naughty of me, but... Oh dear. Yes, got it. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. This is going to be fun. Oh, okay. Oh no. Oops. This is way too thick. Oh dear. Oh God, okay. I am working on some stories and some books. I write fantasy, and I'm just doing some fantasy writing this evening. Ow. This is not going according to plan. So this is how grubby the fingers get, you know? That's just what... Yes, I do prefer writing fantasy. It's my easiest genre to write. Oh God, how do I get this off? Come on. Okay, this is not going according to plan. Might try this one actually. This is looking lovely, look at that. This is fairly heavy compared to these. These are very light. I can't get this one off. Oh boy. Oh dear. Oh, this is beautiful. I wonder where I got that. Oh, I know what I'm getting next. Oh, dear me, this is lovely. Okay. Oh yeah, this is good. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get more of these. Yeah, so there's so many writers using Wattpad. I've heard of Wattpad. I've never actually used it, but it seems to be really popular. But I think whatever gets people writing is, you know, is amazing. I think it's something that we're losing, and I think it's something we need to go back to. Especially letter writing. I think letter writing is so important. Oh, thank you, Nessa. You need to get this off. Okay. Oh, crap. Oops. Yeah, that's not even working. Yeah, there's a huge storm raging outside. It's really bad, and like there's so much thunder and lightning. It's very exciting. So this is a perfect writing moment, and this is what so many people like to have, where like, you know, storms, thunder, lightning, violent weather outside, and you're just indoors messing around with your pens. So that one's stuck. So I want to get more of these. They're fairly cheap here, but this one I bought in London, and this is really solid, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And I've just used it for the first time today, and it's just been, oof. So this is very exciting, but I can't remember where I got the nib. I don't recall, but it's so solid. It's so solidly built. Yeah, I think I know what to look for. But luckily, there's a stationery shop here that sells like inks and pens and calligraphy pens and all that, and nibs as well. And I think I'm gonna go back there. I don't really like the quality of the pens. They're a bit cheaply made, but this one, I bought this in London. The actual, it's just solid wood and it's amazing. But I might try and get more of these. Yeah, very exciting. I absolutely love writing and have written 4 books because I just think it's a fun pastime that more people should do. Most definitely, I do agree. I do agree with that. I think if more people wrote, I think a lot more people would be happier. And actually, when I used to work with children who were like fairly troubled, they were all encouraged to write. A lot of them didn't because they thought writing was nerdy and too in touch with your feelings, and which was a shame. But we always encouraged them to write as much as they could, and not just like stories, but just write how they felt. It really did work, and it really helped as well. I love these inkwells, but you have to be so careful with how much ink you put in them, because they run out, they dry out fairly quickly. And I'm trying to think of a way of getting some sort of a wine cork and sticking that in there so it forms an airtight seal. Because I do like using them, but you just never know. You just can't leave them open. No, these don't have any caps on them, which is really interesting. These don't have any caps. These have caps, but even though they have caps, they're not airtight. So you have to be careful with how much ink you put in, because they just dry out at the bottom. Which is interesting. I do love using them, but I have to be so... I'm trying to figure out a way of getting some sort of rubber around the edge, just to give it a good seal, you know? Because the ink does dry fairly quickly. So I haven't used these in a while because you have to really gauge how much ink goes in them. But these are just completely open. But I have an idea to use wine corks and, you know, just shape them a bit and stuff them in there, so at least there's no air getting in, because I've wasted so much ink this way when I've put the ink in here. And we all know the world is getting more expensive. Yeah, the prices are just... I mean, I found some good... I would say good suppliers, but I think for ink, for a bottle of ink, they are still quite pricey, but I have found some cheaper ones, so the prices are not as bad as some of the other shops, but But I'm having to order them into the country, which is fairly ridiculous, I think. But I think that's just the sign of the times, really. Everything's a lot more expensive. Alright, so I'm just going to write a few more lines, then I'm going to retire for the evening. I've been writing since I was like I've been writing all my life. I've been writing since I was a kid. So it's something I'm so used to now. Yeah. Uh, when you're writing a character of a different race, I would be careful with stereotypes because I know when I'm reading very US centric books, particularly, you tend to see more of these strange depictions of people of different races. So I would avoid the stereotypes, and this is where I think you actually have to know people of different races. You actually have to have met people, have interacted with them, because I think that's very important. Because there is an author called Ben Aronovich. He wrote Rivers of London, and the books were absolutely amazing because in the books there were lots of Nigerians in there, and I'm Nigerian, and he depicted us so well because he sort of knew that he was someone who had obviously been around Nigerians quite a lot, because he got all the characteristics pretty spot on, but there was no strange stereotyping. It was all very accurate and it was all very funny. And I think to write people of different races, you actually have to know people of different races. If you know what I mean, you actually have to have spent time with people. And I think that's why I find it easy to write different races, because I've always been around, I've worked with different people and I've interacted with different people. So I know that a lot of the stereotypes that you see, especially on the media and on television, on TV shows, is not real. So it's pretty interesting. I hope that helps. I think the issue that many authors, no, not many, I would say a few select authors face around writing people of different races is they just write complete stereotypes and that's what usually, you know, brings bad publicity about their books. But you actually have to know people, and and this is where I think life experience and experience of people and just experience of living will sort of teach you how to write and how to depict people better. Okay, so it's quite late now, so I'm going to log off for the evening. If anyone is writing, please do keep on writing. and I hope that you find, I hope you reach your word counts for the evening. I'm going to be back on tomorrow at the same time, so if you're online and you want to get some writing done, please do come and join me. Oh, I need to get rid of the sink. Oh wow. Please do come and join me, and I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. I'll try and schedule it early in the morning, but I'll see you all tomorrow. Okay? Have a lovely evening, morning, afternoon. Oh, I've got ink everywhere. Wherever you are. And I'll see you tomorrow. Right, bye.